Hey, how are you? I don't know what's up with my camera. I think it's upside down. Mm, sorry, guys. Hang on. Bear with me. There we go. So what I'm doing is I'm going to crochet a small heart that I'm wanting. There, let's get it. Good enough. Anywho's, so hello. I don't know if that's going to work. Anyways, so I am wanting to do a crochet heart. I'm doing a small heart. Like you can do a bunch of little hearts and then put it on a blanket or whatever. So there's a really easy pattern, and I don't use the magic circle. I know a lot of people use the magic circle. And I prefer to use a slip knot just because, you know, I try to do like the easier things for like beginner crocheters, if you will, or just simple crochet patterns. And so most people don't like the magic circle. And you can do the same thing with the slip knot. You can use either the magic circle or a slip knot. To me, slip knot's just easier. Anyways, so you take a slip knot. And that's how I create my slip knot. Now, when I do crochet tutorials, I do not teach stitches in a pattern. I want, you know, because I want people that maybe they're new at crochet. Okay, so if you want to know how to do stitches, go to my playlist and practice the stitch. If you don't know the stitch, I'd rather you practice the stitch. Do 5 to 8 stitches of the stitch that you're learning before you attempt to take on a pattern. That's just me personally. I know everybody does tutorials in different ways. So this particular pattern requires to know how to chain, how to slip stitch, how to double crochet, and how to triple crochet. Okay, so anyways, hello whoever's here. So starting with the slip knot, okay, you're going to do 4, chain 4. Sorry guys. Chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Not tight, but not real loose either. Okay. Then you're going to go into that first chain and you're going to slip stitch, which will create your hole right there. Okay. All right. Then you're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now, in this hole, right here, this hole, hang on a second, I'm going to turn my light on. In this hole, sorry, in that hole, you're going to double crochet 4 times. Okay, so double crochet, wrap around. Okay, that's 1 double crochet. Try to keep this tail. Now I want to undo that because, and I'll tell you why. Get back to my, I want this tail here to kind of keep that to the side. All right, so going in, I'm going to do 4 double crochets into the center hole. 2 double crochet. Then I'm going to do 3 double crochet. Whoops. Going down in there. Okay. And then 1 more to make 4 double crochets. Now, sorry. So you see you've got this heart starting to, now you're going to do 2 triple crochet. Now I'm going to turn this light off. 2 triple crochets. I think it's really helping anyways. Now you're going to do 2 triple crochets. Wrap her around twice. Go down in the hole. Do, 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 do. through once, go through twice, go through 3 times. Now you're going to go to your second triple crochet. Do 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 do. Okay, so as you can see, it's starting to form. Okay, your heart. All right, so that's, where did my phone go? Hang on a second. Okay. Now you're going to chain 4 again right here from this spot. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so I'm going to unravel my yarn. Now we're going to do in that hole. Wait a minute, what did I do? Triple crochet. Okay, so now we're going to go back to that center hole. We're going to slip stitch. Okay. Hey, sorry about that. Now, let's take that back. We're going to do, what? 4 double crochets. Sorry, my dog. 1 and 2. Maybe I do. Yeah, I think I do. I got a little situation over here with my doggie. No, leave her alone. Oh my goodness. Okay, now I'm going to go 4 double crochets. Sorry, guys. 2, 3, oops, and 4. It slipped off in that 4th one there. No, I'm not doing something right here. Okay, here we go. All right, the 4th one going in. Do 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 do. Now, going to do 2 triple crochets into that center there. 1, go through twice, go through 3. Can't talk 3 times. Okay, 1 more triple crochet into the center hole. 1, go through twice. 2, go through twice. 3, go through. Okay, so now you're going to take and you're going to go to the top of that first 4 chains. You're going to go to the very top, and then you're going to slip stitch. Make sure you go through both. Okay, ta-da! Hang on a second. And there's your heart. Okay, that one's bigger for some reason on that side. Pull that down. Okay, so now on that, done with that. Sorry, guys. Now I want to talk about this whole summer whale situation. Who's here? Hey, Alfonso, what's up from Colorado? Yes, I hope you're doing good. I was just wanting to chat about this whole summer whales thing. I don't know if people are familiar or not. I feel bad for the family because it's just another situation where people are convicting a family whose child was abducted or is missing, I guess you should say. I'm not saying that there's not a possibility that they did something. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that, oh my goodness, it's wrong for people to accuse them. And then what's so bad is they pick on them because their house is dirty and they've had, you know, dysfunctional issues in their family. And so they're just like convicting these people. And there's like, they're not even charged. But here's personally why I personally don't believe they did anything to that little girl. Is because just body language that I've seen of the father And I have looked at a piece of handwriting analysis, and I do know handwriting analysis. I can go into a police department, and out of 10 people who wrote down statements that were deceptive and they eventually confessed, I can tell you which one of those people out of 20 people, I can tell you which ones confessed. Like just by reading the statements, I will tell you which ones confessed, because deception is one of the easier things to pick up in handwriting analysis. However, you have to look at specific things in handwriting analysis. You have to look at the entirety. So there was a statement, piece of paper, where there was some change in her, specific types of change that could be indicators of deception, but not without looking at much more writings, like the statement of what happened. But basically, because of one of this 9-line statement that she made, when it came to the line where she was talking about her daughter, her handwriting did change in specific ways. But that just means she could have been emotional about talking about her daughter, you know. But at any rate, I personally don't think, here's why I come to the conclusions that I have, and I'm not judging people that come to different conclusions, except for if they're just saying, oh, she's guilty, and then they're attacking her and saying mean things about her and saying mean things about their family. I'm like, you're being disrespectful to that child. That's the child's parents. That's the child's family. The child who's a victim of whatever has happened to her, whether she's been kidnapped, whether she's been murdered, that child is being disrespected because they're talking trash about that kid who may be rescued. Maybe she was, kidnapped for somebody that wants a child of their own. Maybe she was sold into sex trafficking. One day she might be rescued and come home and have to see all this crap that people said about her family. And it's just horrible that they're victimizing the child. That's how I see it. Nonetheless, they're not respecting that child. They're not like being caring about that kid, because if they were, they wouldn't be doing this to their family, and they're not even charged. Here's why I come to conclusions I have. One, because of where I live and the type of environment and the surroundings of location of my residence. I'm going to talk about that. Why I believe this 5 people who saw some specific person creep in their woods near their property. There actually was on their property. Okay. And then 2, I'm going to talk about being a kidnap victim myself, because it's not something that I've talked about. I think I mentioned it once before. And then 3, I'm going to talk about the fact that CPS is taking these children. And a lot of people are like, oh, look, CPS had taken the kids. Well, when a petitioner files for a protective order and then says there's abuse going on and there's children involved, and then later rescinds that petitioner, that alone is a reason that CPS will go in, because that's common for an abuse victim or somebody in those types of situations. They do that. They just do that. They'll file it and then they'll calm down, or they feel guilty about, maybe they've been manipulated. Maybe they're afraid, that this is their income bearer, that there's going to be going to jail or potentially could be going to jail. For whatever reasons, they rescind their protective order. And CPS looks at that like that's a red flag. This person's not able to protect. They've made accusations and now they're rescinding, and now they're not able to follow through on protecting their children, and they will take those children. That's common. But the fact that they took these children, you know darn well that they've evaluated those kids to the hill. They've probably been psychologically evaluated by experts. They've been interviewed and interrogated. You know these kids have been interviewed to the hill. And these kids are old enough that they will be able to detect if something's going on with those kids, if they're covering up, if they're lying. Those kids would know if somebody killed their sibling. So I'm just like, I invite it. Regan, okay, hang on a second. So then I want to talk about my surroundings. I live in a situation similar to that residence. I looked at the aerial review of the residence. Hold on. Quit barking at Lisa. Leave her alone. Leave her alone. Don't do that. Okay, you gotta be good. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry, guys. I have my oh my gosh, he's just like menacing her. No, Regan. Oh wait, come on. I don't know what to do with him. I've got one of my girls is not close. And yeah, he can't help himself. Anyways, bless his heart. Bless his little heart. So he's just kind of going crazy right now. And anyways, anywho, as I was. Okay, so where I live, my house is surrounded by forest. And I think a lot of people, they can't conceive how on earth could anybody had targeted this residence that's way out there in the middle of like nowhere. I mean, it's complete. This residence that I'm talking about, the Summer Wells guys, is completely surrounded by forest, and there's no way to get into that residence but either through this thickly wooded area or the driveway. And I am here to tell you, as somebody who lives on a similar type of situation, there's a private drive up my road. Okay, and it's a dead end. Like literally, there's 2 houses on the road that I live off of, and it's a dead end, and there's nothing but forest around me. But because I have a stalker that I have a 5-year stalker order against, that was menacing me, menacing my properties, I had to invest in CCTV security camera system. And actually, in reality, I should have probably had that before. But I have found and I've seen people creeping in the woods. And in areas like that, people do. You would think that nobody's going to go creeping through the woods. It's like people don't do that. Yes, they do. Oh my gosh. I can show you videos. And I actually put that on one of my social media platforms where I caught a guy. He went and came through this freaking forest. It was nothing but a forest. He came through the forest. And it was a foot of snow on the ground. It was like 20 degrees outside. It was like January. I kid you not. I'm just, it's 1 a.m. at a foot of snow on the ground. And here comes this guy prowling my property. Then that's what they, most of the times it's just somebody looking for something just to take, for money. Oh boy. Then let me tell you about the time I was kidnapped. Yeah, I was kidnapped as a little kid. Right off the school playground. So I heard in this case, somebody was talking about it, like some kind of podcast or something, talking about some police apparently allegedly said that the kids just don't vanish. Oh my gosh. In this day and age, I cannot believe any law enforcement agency to say that. How many cases have we had where they snatched, what was it, J.C. Dugard, Elizabeth Smart? They just took the kid right out of her bed from her house. Remember that one? Oh my gosh, J.C. Dugard snatched her right off her street. Just snatched her as her stepfather watched in horror. Of course, they said things about him. 19 years later, she's rescued. And it's just like, it happens all the time. It's actually not rare, sadly. So in the 70s, I was a kid at school, and I'm on the playground. There's other kids around me, and that's a group of teenagers come and snatched me and this little kid off the playground, got me all the way up the ramp. And I'm kicking and screaming and fighting. So he took me in the bathroom, slapped me around a little bit to subdue me while I'm bawling and stuff. And it wasn't the fact that there was an adult in the parking lot that saw, these people suspiciously taking this kid off who looked like had been crying, that hollered at them, and then they took off. And that's how they didn't successfully take me further. People get snatched all the time. Look on YouTube. There's videos of kids being snatched out of Walmart, snatched in a public place, right out in front of a store, off the sidewalk. Some sibling will fight them off. I mean, it happens. That was San Diego, California that happened to me. And then my cousin in Bartlesville, Oklahoma, fought off a kidnapper with white veins, pulled right up to the freaking front porch. He was in the yard playing. Snatched his little blonde-headed brother, and he went up there and was fighting them. My cousins were athletic. They fought them kidnappers off, and they took off. It happens. So people think like the secluded place, like this remote wooded area that these people were living in. Hello. And so I'm like, okay, let's talk about this. It's actually bold and brazen kidnappers that go into a subdivision and will snatch a kid, snatch and grab a kid from their front yard. That's pretty bold and brazen because you know, the most of the people at work during the day in the subdivision, but you do have people that can see. Everybody can see each other in subdivision, right? So it will be actually easier to scout a rural area where it's all wooded. They'll fly drones. I've caught drones on my cameras. My other another person in the community caught a drone on a camera. I mean, they fly drones over these. You know, if they knew, all it needed is somebody in that area, in that community, that needed money, and will snatch a kid to sell them to traffickers. Happens all the time. And so I'm just like the whole theory that there's, you know, they don't think that it's, I think that regardless if there's suspicious things about a family, you know, don't not consider the family. They should always consider the family, no matter what, just as protocol, right? But do it in a respectful way, of course. But they should, I just feel like people who have family issues, or maybe they're poor, you know, or they've had problems with the law, they've had these domestic dysfunctional issues in their family, like so many millions of people do. I just can't judge them because they have problems, for crying out loud. Oh my goodness. So I just think that they don't know, but I think they may have done less towards the abduction theory just because they're poor and they have issues. You know what I mean? It's just, at any rate, I think because there were other children who were older that have been taken and have been investigated and have been interviewed, and, you know, there's psychologists can interview a child and they'll know if they're covering something up. So that's why I don't believe that they did anything, because I think those kids, they would have been able to detect that, you know what I mean? And I just don't. I think that somebody close by, I could be wrong. I think I could be wrong. You know what I'm saying? But I will not. And I think that as a Christian, it's wrong to just sit there and trash a family whose child is missing and then just convict them. And I'm thankful that I live in a country, as much problem as our judicial system and our police enforcement agencies, all those many problems as our country has, right? I'm so thankful that I live in a country with the Constitution that you are innocent until proven guilty. Oh my gosh, people are so spoiled rotten in this country. They have no idea how good they have it, how much they take those rights for granted. Let me tell you, I just watched a clip today. I was just like horrified. There was somebody that shares a short. It was a short video here on YouTube. Somebody from China. And thankfully, they didn't show the execution, but they showed there's out there. I'm telling you, this is how thankful we should be. Let me use this short as an example. There was, I guess it was some kind of outdoor setting, and there was like this table of people who were declaring judgment against them. They had them on their knees, you know, and these officers was over them, and they declared in front of a whole crowd of people that they are guilty, and then they marched them off to be executed. Guilty, boom, take them out there to the field and shoot them. That's reality. Do you know how many countries have that kind of judicial system? And here in America, we have a divinely written constitution that are based on biblical principles that all the matter should be heard. Don't judge a matter until you've heard all the evidence. And so it's like, it could look bad. It could feel bad. We could go on our emotions and speculate. But here's what our society does. It is just encourages people for money, like these networks, like 48 Hours, all these investigative shows that like to investigate something that's not been through a court system. The case has not even been heard yet in the trial. In fact, a lot of times people haven't even been charged yet. And they want to talk about, and they present what they want to present. And they don't present, there's no way they could present all the things that can be presented, because trials last days, weeks, months to go through everything. But in one little synopsis situation, they'll present a whole hour of evidence, and then they'll say, what do you think? And they want everybody to give their opinions, and then they're just basically, it's Satan in the background saying, hey, everybody, do the sin thing that God hates. It says in the Bible, do the sin thing, judge without hearing the whole matter. Do it. That's what That's what is behind these networks and this media. That's what's behind them. They're judging people without even knowing all the facts. You know, it's just like, oh my gosh, you can get me started on the matter. Back, you can go, I'll have to find one of those videos I did back in, whenever Casey Anthony's case was in there. And I was just like, I was stuck. I get stuck on a piece of fact that's being ignored by the media. And when I see something that's really important and it's being ignored by the media, I know that there's something crooked going on in the background. And sure enough, many years later, that guy was lying on the stand, and the phone records proved that prosecutor knowingly led that man to perjury. Okay, so my issue back then, something on my security camera. My issue back then was a pool cover. I heard, saw, read with my own ears, eyes, that the person that found her body, there was a comment about something about it looked like a pool cover. This is somebody that owned a pool. And so, and then later, there was the issue of the drowning. But I don't know. It was just something that was just completely ignored. I was like, why didn't nobody even mention that? Anyways, so, you know, there's just cases where people attacked them when their child went missing, and it turned out that they were truly not at fault. And you know, I'm just, for example, was the Elizabeth Smart and the Juicy Do card. And oh my gosh, there was a movie I just watched. I watched a movie recently about this guy who was accused of killing this little girl. And what it turned out to be was a I believe it was a serial killer. This little girl came up missing, and this guy had come out of his office building, and he had bought some Girl Scout cookies from this little girl, and somebody saw her talking to her, but there was nothing abnormal about it because he was buying Girl Scout cookies. And then, I mean, just ruined that man's life. I mean, it was horrible what they did to him, you know, and they questioned him and stuff, but the media made a big deal out of it because they questioned him. You know, what it was is from his past, while he was in college, he mooned somebody, and you know, somebody reported it, and so he got a fine of, it was him and 4 other college students. Which, oh my gosh, have you ever been to college? They do that. I mean, I remember when I went to high school, I got mooned. I was just, oh my gosh, they do that. It's ornery. It is lewd. But he was charged with lewd behavior because he mooned some people. It was like a fraternity, like, you know, when you go through initiation or something. And so anyways, but because he had that lewd act thing, I mean, they really ran with that. They didn't say that it was a prank from college, but they just said the lewd, you know what I mean? They just destroyed this man. And come to find out, they eventually found the guy that killed the kid. Okay, it wasn't him. But I'm just saying, can you imagine? That was like a long, long time ago, before the internet. I can only imagine they would have killed this guy on social media, right? Like, it just, anyways, it's just sad that our country doesn't think things through about what they're doing as far as, you know, just judging people, and just mean-spirited people judging these people. Yeah, maybe they have problems. Maybe they have you know, abuse substances, you know, but like, oh my gosh, in every community, there's somebody abusing substances. Are you just going to trash them because they have problems? It's just like, anyways, but I think people who do have problems are more vulnerable to being attacked, you know, when something bad happens, and it's just sad. And meanwhile, just the whole idea of, I think that it was very easy for somebody, you know, to know where that property was, to lurk in the woods and snatch that child. That's actually easier to snatch a child from those kinds of settings than it is to go up into broad daylight where other people will see and stop them. All they had to do was lurk in those woods and just watch. When the adult is not outside and the kid's outside. Because see, here's the thing now, a lot of times in the country, if everybody ever lived in the country, and you know, you're more relaxed with letting your kids play outside. You know that. Because if you're living in a city, you're probably more careful with your kids, you know, where they can play. But when little kids are outside in a big piece of property out in the country in a secluded area, I mean, they just have more, they're just more relaxed. You know, they can go outside and play for a couple hours. I remember when I grew up, this little dinky town, I'll be running down to the creek. I'm running all over the place. I just can't imagine growing up today. I'm all over the place when I was a kid. I was very active. You know, I'm like on my bike going places. I'm like really, I was always somewhere, you know, and by myself. I would run to the creek, you know, and it just that was my life. So I can't, you know, I can just see somebody who's like, if they're hard up for money and they want to snatch a kid to sell to traffickers, because okay, I'm just saying it would be easier to target a residence like that. All they have to do is go on. Now they have the internet. They can use drones and figure out how to access this property. You know, use Google Earth. It's just when people have that kind of thing in their mind, it's just, anyways. But I just think it's sad that, you know, oh, well, they're dirty. Oh, they fed them. They didn't give them a good diet, you know, and just, oh my gosh. And then, oh, look, here's a picture. She was in a car and she had some milk jugs next to her. I'm like, and milk jugs probably felt pretty good leaning on when it was hot outside. You know, it's like just stupid stuff. You know, it just, convicting these people, calling them guilty is just wrong. You know, if it looks bad and it seems bad, you know what? Maybe they are guilty, but maybe they're not. And, you know, I'm just saying, oh my gosh, they're not even charged. And there's so many people convicting these people. And I just want to say, as a Christian, if you're not a Christian, then I guess it doesn't apply to you. But respect the Constitution. Respect that somebody's innocent until they're proven guilty. Respect that you should, you know, just, they're not charged them for a reason. They've gone into their house and they have pulled all their stuff. Okay. In fact, one of the guy was like, yeah, they took my TV and my Canon camera and they didn't put that on the list of stuff they took. I guarantee you they have gone through their stuff with a fine-tooth comb and there's nothing there to arrest them. And that's why they're not arrested. Because I'm saying, you have people arrested people much quicker and convicted people because, you know, and it's just, there's nothing there. The CPS has already got their hands on these kids and done all these interviews, and those older kids, there's no way they wouldn't like be able to think for something that these kids, you know. But and then there's the story about some, and I'm not saying that whoever was creeping the woods, I'm not saying that person, if they were creeping in the woods, I'm not saying that they did anything. There's people that creep properties all the time looking for something to steal, or just being ornery for whatever reasons, you know, just not respecting boundaries. Doesn't mean that person did that either. But I'm just saying there's definitely different theories that are definitely warranted, needing to be considered by everybody. And so anyways, that's enough of that. And so I'm just warning people, you know, as Christians, it is so wrong to convict people. And as Americans, I guess if you just think that it's okay to convict somebody without a trial, I really think you should go live in China. And I'm not trying to be mean. I just think you should go live in China because that's how you're acting. You know, and I'm like, it's just like, put them out here and then just, I mean, I don't know what kind of due process they get there, but there's so many countries, they don't have the privilege. They don't have the rights that we do. I mean, just imagine if it happened to you, okay? Because, you know, something happens in your house. Like you wake up and somebody's dead. Somebody broke in your house in the middle of the night. And you're like, oh, that would never happen to me. Okay. All right. I hope it never does. But I'm just saying it's happened to people. There are serial killers. There are predators. There are, unfortunately, there are people that just do things like that. And maybe it's much more rare. Okay. But I just think that a family who has lost a child whose child is missing. Okay. And remember, when you're watching something on YouTube or in the media, they're playing little clips. You should see the whole video, because I've seen so many videos of their conversations and the things they're saying taken out of context, or just playing a little clip of it. I was like, are they talking about them in their past tense? Or are they're not, like, that's, let me see the rest of the video. So then I find the rest of the video and they're not talking about the past tense. They're talking about they don't know. You know what I mean? They're like, they're just weighing through whether the child is alive or dead. But let me tell you, these people, they should have lawyered up just to protect themselves from the world, really. But they have subjected themselves to lawyers, to police. They went on the Dr. Phil show and subjected themselves to body language experts. And oh my goodness, have I seen some crackpot body language experts thinking they would listen to a little bit of something, and then, oh, maybe this, that. Then they'll go and listen to, oh, well, they're, I mean, oh my gosh. Oh my word. Okay. And I think the most actual credible thing that anybody's discussed was the handwriting note. There was definitely something there that was inconsistent in the handwriting. But as somebody who has studied handwriting analysis, I know that just that one line, when you start to talk about her daughter, that could have caused an emotional reaction that reflects in the handwriting. Unless you see the police statement where she wrote about the events that happened that day, that's the one they need to analyze. And then you can determine, like, ooh, yeah, that looks suspicious. It's just like, people profiteer. There's my other issue. People profit off of other people's tragedy, and I just think that's gross. I won't buy those true crime books, because unless they're given money that they make to the victims and to the family who has suffered a loss, I just think they're gross. I think them to write a book about a story of somebody's horrible tragedy that happened to a child, or somebody murdered, for entertainment and make money off of that. That's just gross. Like, seriously, how can they sit there and get rich off of somebody else's tragedy? Donate money to the family, for crying out loud. Oh my gosh, I hate that. I really do. I just think that's just gross. Just gross. Somebody wants to talk about this case so they can, like, write a book about it and make some money. Well, everybody's gonna meet God one day. That's all I have to say on that. Anywho, so I just wanted to talk about that, and I'm gonna stop this video because I wanted to show that little crochet thing, and I don't want it to be too long. I've already gone on for 38 minutes, and then I'm gonna come back and chat with people, and maybe I'll drop a clue word right here, right now, and I'll put that in my title of my video. And clue word: fairness. FAIRNESS. Be fair. And to be fair is, just let the courts convict people and say whether or not they killed their child, for crying out loud. And avoid people who are unfair and just anyways. I just think it's gross what people are doing. Just mean-spirited people. Maybe don't realize they are being really cruel, but they are. And they're just lucky that some tragedy like that hasn't happened to them. Okay, another clue word. Red heart. Red heart. Clue word, red heart. Oh my God, one more clue word, because I want to make sure I have at least 3 clue words in this video. And so, in case you're watching this and you don't know anything when I'm talking about clue words, so I have giveaways I do regularly. And so in my videos, usually my gaming videos, I will drop clue words for the giveaway. And it's usually cash, Robux, gifts. So I have a New Year's giveaway that I'm doing right now. And so you get 2 extra entries for each clue word, but you have to have, in order to be entered, you have to comment a clue word on any video that has clue word in the title. And so so my giveaway playlist, you go to my channel, click on Home tab, and scroll down to Giveaway playlist, and you'll see a whole bunch of videos with clue words in the title of the video. And there's no limit on how many extra entries you can get. You just comment clue words whenever you hear them in the videos. And in order for the extra entries for the clue word to count, you have to comment a separate hello. Don't comment the clue words right now while I'm live, though. Hello. So anyways, and so when you hear the clue word, you comment the clue, you just comment clue word and then the word, and then you do a separate comment on the video. And you can comment, 3 clue words in 1 sentence. That's fine. Just make sure you make a separate comment that doesn't include clue words. So that way my video is not sitting there with no comments or anything on it, because it sends bad data to the algorithm that there's views and no interaction. So anyways, yeah, so I'm going to end this one and then start another one. I've got bingo, New Year's Eve. So if you want to play bingo, numbers 1 through 75, drop 5 numbers. 1 set of 5 numbers, 1 through 75. And then, oh my poor dog. And then comment the bingo numbers if you want to play. And you don't have to be present to win. I do a premiere video and I play the numbers for them, and then you can watch and play along if you want to watch the premiere video. You just have to watch the video within 24 hours after it premieres, and then in case you won, and then claim the first one. No, buddy, poor baby. So that's it for this one, and I'm gonna start a different stream here in just a little bit. If you're interested, come back.